Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video, and back again for Jubilee, Normal Battle 2. This time it wants us to use a dark character, which, I mean, if you have her, this is going to be ridiculously easy. So, pray to God you have BLANC, and if not, well, there are a few other options, but they're not as good. But as always, disclaimer number one is your results will vary based on your box and your units and your gear and all that jazz. It's not going to be quite the same. This is just to give you an idea of what you can attempt to use. Disclaimer number two, these are the units I use for skill points, or protection gauge, sorry, and these are the units I use for skill points. And disclaimer number three, don't forget to go into your town, optimize your dark building so BLANC or whoever you're going to nuke with can do the most damage. But looking at these stage details, it is yet again another AoE stage. Eventually. Hold on, there we go. AoE stage. These spiders do not have a lot of HP. They do not have a lot of defense at all. So you're going to have to kill them very quickly or make sure you take off all your attack gear to not kill them very quickly. But another AoE fight. And then the starting hand is a triple orb steal. So the first slot character is going to have 3 orbs. They're oranges. So this wants you to use an orange team. God, I wonder what team wants to do that. Yeah, so happy birthday, BLANC. You get a show off. Okay, so Normal Battle 2 is kind of a joke if you have the Warriors Mind team, or any semblance of it that has BLANC, and Shuna at least, because they do entirely way too much damage. So we've got Hinata for that triple orb steal turn 1. She's in the first slot, so she's guaranteed those 3 orbs. And then everybody else is here to defend. Raphael will be able to seal if we really need to do that, but I don't think we do. So we're just not even going to use Raphael. Like, she's here, but it's more important to get those orbs for BLANC. So we're going to use the green buff from Divine General Diablo just to give those greens a little bit extra oomph. And then we can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. Spread the damage out. We'll bring Violet in. And then, I mean, if you wanted to, you could also use the BLANC buff. That would very much get us the EX ult for her because of the buffed oranges. But I kind of want to use that next turn instead of doing it now, because we're still going to do way too much damage. So 1 damage there, 1 damage there, and as long as we take 1 damage off this, then we're good. And we get a cheeky counter out of it too. So we don't even need to use Raphael's skills if you're lucky and if you got the good enough stats. But we have 102 points, which is actually 142 because of the BLANC skill. So we use the big time BLANC buff, and then we have 52 points left over. So let's use the control stacks, because we obviously don't have enough to use Diablo. But those control stacks will help us with the debuffs, which we'll get from the Dread skill on top of everything else, and BLANC on turn 2 does almost 2 million damage each, and that's the damage cap in 2 turns. So we really didn't need Diablo. We didn't even get the EX ult with his skill. We didn't use his big time buff, so you don't need Diablo. Violet, I mean, yeah, sure, we used her control stats, but I mean, I guess you could have used some other buff instead, and you probably would have been okay at least. We didn't need Raphael at all. The only people that we really need here was Shuna and BLANC. So if you have them, you can probably max score this, or, get a very close score, because maybe you take a little bit more than just 1 damage per hit. But that's hilarious. Let's move on to the other teams now. Alright, so maybe you don't have BLANC and Shuna. Can't be that easy all the time. But you have the Frieren team, and with the newly EX Unbound Octagram Lumi, she is a dark AoE magic character that you can use to hit the damage cap. Maybe not in 3 turns, but with the Frieren team you have a lot of power. A lot of power coming off of those 2 characters, plus Himmel. So, we're going to use them. We are also bringing the Raphael because of the turn 1 convert, because she'll steal the 3 orbs and change them to oranges. That'll get the EX ult immediately. Sorry, the cat likes to jump on things and likes to turn the AC on and off. But, so, we use the orb steal. I mean, if you don't have Raphael, you can use any triple orb stealer. That'll work. It'll just be slightly more difficult than normal, than what you're seeing right here. But more importantly, we do have the EX alt for Lumi. She has her own permanent stacking alt buff and the AoE buffs, which are cool. And now we can't really do those because we need a better hand. So let's go ahead and steal again, and then we'll use Himmel to convert those other 2 orbs. Gets us the full hand of oranges. This will give us a lot of points, so that next turn we can use a few different things. We have a lot of different skills going on this team. We've got the Frieren buff, we've got both Fern buffs, we've got the Violet magic buff, we've got technically the Raphael buff we can use because we are type advantage with someone and the attack buff will work. And then we also have Lumi's own stacking abilities, which we're not going to cap out on, but we can use a few of them. But as you can see, we're on turn 3 and like 2 of the spiders are almost dead. Not in the danger zone, but they don't take a lot of damage very kindly. So go ahead and buff, boom, boom. So that's 30% or 10% AoE and 20% ult damage. I'm getting my numbers mixed up. It's hot in here. And then we'll go ahead and flip her out. We've got the full hand of oranges, so we'll go ahead and send this and pray that we don't kill a spider on accident. But after turn 3, you get stunned for 2 turns. So you're going to go to turn 6, like without question. If you don't nuke on turn 3, you're stuck until turn 6. And again, it's not that big a deal if going to turn 6 will enable you to have enough points to nuke properly with the full 5 million damage cap. Because the points lost from the turn bonus and the damage taken is not nearly as impactful as your damage output. So there's 1 turn stun. Now here's turn 5, and we'll just send everything again. And now we're capped out on points. We've got double stack of Himmel, which means that on turn 6, we should have enough to use everything here. So let's use everything. We held on to the Fern buff already, so we don't need to use one of them. But now let's use the Raphael buff and debuff. We haven't actually enhanced the weakness resistance because we haven't sent any alts with Raphael, because, I mean, I don't think we'd kill, but we'd do a little bit more damage than what I'd like. And then we'll take Frieren out because we used her buff. We'll bring Fern in for Raphael, and we could use those other 2 buffs, so 1, 2, and that's it. And we do have a double stack of Himmel, so that's an extra 40% element damage, so why not? And because maybe if you're a weaker unit as far as gear or something, you might need those extra stacks to make sure you can get close to the damage cap or above it. But Lumi does 2.7 million across the board, so almost 3 a hit, and that's definitely over damage cap. And you can see that we've lost 332 points. We still got the 330k maximum weakness damage score, and we lost about 2.5k on turn bonus. So overall, still a very good score. Not the end of the world that we didn't nuke on turn 6. Alright, next is if you're going to go on another budget and you got to use some maybe older units that are not tippity top tier anymore, but they can still be, somewhat effective. So we've got the New Year's Blessing team plus Summer Millum. Now, Summer Millum, you could use her actual Summer Memories team, but it's even worse than this, and I just don't recommend that. But again, it is possible to use Trainee. You'll get the extra damage against light and everything, but this is much easier. So, New Year's Shion converts to oranges, guaranteed crit, guaranteed synergy. Millum and Shinsha having their own buffs. Diablo, we're going to use him to give orbs to Millum, who has the highest attack stat of all 3 of them. And then Summer Millum in the back, personal buff, and then Tempest Benimaru for his physical buff. So we took off the weapons on Diablo and Shinsha to make sure that Millum has the highest attack stat, because Diablo gives 3 New Year's orbs to the person with the highest attack. So we have 3 New Year's characters up front. We've made sure Millum has the highest ones, and she already has 3, so let's give her another 3 as soon as I reset this, because that was the wrong skill to use. Should have vetted this again. But here, now we will use the right skill. The giveaway. Now we have 6 Millum orbs, which turns into 6 different Millum orbs. And that's not quite enough to get the EX alt. Not that big of a deal, though. We don't have super high cost skills on this team, which could be a detriment. Like, if you can bring a different character to help buff Milim, certainly I would do that. But this team is fairly cheap, so it doesn't require 5 turns of stacking points to do so. So, Shinsha can alt swap away. Okay, perfect. So that gives us 2 oranges. We could use Xion to convert everything to orange now, but we're going to need a little bit extra push for points and gauge. So we're going to use the 25%, or is it 25 or 50% New Year's Blessing gauge increase? Whatever it is, it's going to help us get max score, or max points on this. And we're going to get the EX ult. So we just have to make sure not to kill anybody here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Thankfully everyone is alive. And now that we have max points, which will be at 182, I think, or something, 84, because of someone's trait, we have enough to use everything here. So, 167, my bad. It's still enough, though. So, let's go the buff here, boom, and then we can't use Diablo's debuff again, because we used it last turn to ensure we had enough points, but let's use the Shinshin Milim buff, and then we have just enough left over to use the Benimaru 40-point skill, and then we'll go ahead and use Xion to get the guaranteed crit, guaranteed synergy, so we can activate all the buffs that we put on with Shinshin Milim. And then we'll nuke, and Milim does 1.2, 1.5. The middle one has more damage because the ult resistance down from Benimaru is better. But that gets us 4.2 million, which is not the damage cap. We would have to do 5 million-ish. But it's still not a bad score for a year-and-a-half-old team, and a DPS is even older than that. So, if it's what you got, it's what you got. I'm not going to run this, but if this is the team you have to do with Summer Memories, I mean, Hinata can triple Orb Steal turn 1 and give it to Milim. You would just probably have to go to turn 6 because you're not going to have enough points or not enough gauge or something. But this is a this is like almost a 2-year-old team at this point that you could use. It's not going to get you damage cap, at least not the way it's currently built, but it is an older team in case you have some older units. So this is also an option. But if you have any other team suggestions that I have not shown today, please put them in the comments below. That way you could help out some other players who might not have the exact things that I'm using or showing off, but maybe they have the same units that you do. And it would help both me and them greatly, because it cuts down on what I have to do. But again, let me know what you guys think in the comments, but that's it from me. Take it easy, and I will see you all later.